British racing schedule of the FF1600 season is going to take a break for a short while as we take the FF1600 series to the Sachsenring. Not the first track I would have picked if I saw the schedule, but when I took a look at this track myself, I thought it is a thrill. It's got a slightly crazy, unique, undulating layout that is absolutely going to push some of these drivers to their limits. Crazy little infield, and then you fly down the hill at the back of the track. I am looking forward to seeing how this one pans out. It could be simple or it could be a riot, but one thing we do know is that this race has split quite brutally. Only 11 drivers making our 4K SoF top split. Pretty unlucky to everyone that gets caught down there, but it's going to have a much smaller field today. Hopefully some good battles between them. A lot of our traditional drivers and a few surprises too. It's been a very, very, very long, tiring week on iRacing and in real life for me, it turns out. But as always, my policy is to just do your best to make it anyway. Just do your best the whole way through. Sometimes you just have those. We last had, well, when I say we, I should clarify. When Beatrice and I both caught an SoF race, it was wet. Less than 10% chance of rain. And we had to dive right into it. Well, these drivers are a little bit more blessed with a dry split, although maybe some of that suffering has been wished out upon the others anyway. As ever, the series is brought to you by FILMBIL.NO. Only one of their drivers made the field today. At least it was one of them, and we didn't have the zero car, so I can follow them around the track. Although, Alexander Rist had better try and make that corner and not slide out. As I say that, I often have a curse. They provide any services you can ever need with regards to vehicles for filming for television and movies, including emergency vehicles and stunt vehicles and plenty more. Check out the URL. They're in the corner of the screen and the name at all times. Only 11 drivers here today. It is a unusual field. I wasn't expecting to see something quite this quiet. None of them have set their lap yet. I want to check who's been caught down in the lower split, actually, because I think a lot of people decide to show and then iRacing does that thing on the split where it just decides half the drivers are disappeared forever. And I grab a driver's list from bottom. Sure I can right now. Jake Forster is in there though. I know that because he's the only one who has a open spotter. Not quite open enough for me to invade and ruin his day. I sometimes do that to you in oval races. I've had my steering offset ruined. Join us, that's the first slap on the board, but they come in fast. Martin Arnoldus and Richard Harwood. Let me get your overlay this time and not make that mistake. Here come your first times on the board. We haven't had much until now. Ian Joyner goes first, and Medma with the next fastest. Edward Buchanan hasn't set one yet. Neither is Daniel Tufts and Alexander Istad. Nader Brown gets in ninth. Edward Buchanan sets the first pole lap. Drivers have a second attempt, which is going to catch Alexander Istad make his final attempt over the line. I think he's quite a bit slow around the track. Show me the gyro cam. I thought this track was flat when I saw its layout, and then the elevation change absolutely swept me away. All the way up and down these hills to finish the track. Could be some dramatic sends into these corners, I think, if drivers are brave or foolhardy enough. Up the hill, this will be the last of the first laps. That looks like it's still on track, according to whatever iRacing considers its rules nowadays. That's a 1:29.3. That'll be halfway up. One more to go, and Medma looking to secure pole. Going to be pretty brutal for the championship standings, I gotta say. Like, this is going to be tough, knowing that a lot of drivers are just missing today. We do have Ann Medma, Ian Joyner, no Fraser Smith, to compete for that top three. And it's been jumped a little bit there. Ian Joyner setting the new fastest as a 1:28.3. I couldn't work out the infield of this track even on the dry. It's P2 from Ack. It's a 1:28. 3-6. A bit more jumping behind. Daniel Tufts gets ahead of Nick Sigley, Nato Brown, and Phillips here. I think Edward Buchanan's set, so I think our final laps are on Istad, who gets somewhere on this grid. Do we have a predicted time for them? Not looking like it could be that much better right now. Sometimes these times are a little bit wrong, and they just drive me a little bit crazy. Never really know. Up the hill, Alexander is gaining. It'll be a 28-7, and with that, everyone's done their laps, and qualifying ends quickly. So, should be able to get the quali result up as soon as possible. Got to try and get them in before their gridding. Thankfully, if it's a small grid, might make this easy. Ian Joyner on pole, ahead of Anne Medman. At championship battle will fight on. Edwin Rukunan goes behind, with Martin Arnoldus in 4. Alexander Istad and Richard Harwood are on the 3rd row. In front of Christopher Cash, Daniel Tufts, Nick Sigley, Nato Brown. I think that was at 11th time. Philip Sear at the back of the drivers, getting their grid ready now. It's going to be a quickie as ever. 20 minutes on the road. And I wonder when the Sens are going to... I wonder when the Sens are going to be a fact. We take a look at the track here. I mean, don't quite have your map today, but I have that one for you. That first segment, it is tough getting through that track, and you get a lot straight to make up for it. And we go green. And already, that's Ian Joyner flying across the track to get into contact with Anne Medmer. I am not sure what I just saw between those two lead cars, but we go on. Edward Buchanan slots in behind on the inside line there. That's the Martin Arnoldus got a good jump and was able to sneak up right through the gap of those drivers. Everyone else makes it through cleanly behind. A very, very good run by Martin Arnoldus there. All over the rear for now. Christopher Cash looks like he's backwards. He's been sorted to the back alongside Daniel Tufts. Wonder if we can catch a replay of that one as quickly as we can. Ooh. It is contact. Let's see if I can catch it from here. It's just a little nudge. Just a little nudge. I'm not sure what really gave Daniel Tufts a meatball. That's what gave Daniel Tufts a meatball. Two drivers blow into the back very, very quick as we return to the pack. This long straight is going to really do something in these drafty cars if you can get a good exit from that opening section. Still touch the gravel there from Martin Arnoldus. Staying as quite the pack right now. Ian Joyner looks almost to the inside, but you're going to need more of a run for that. And in fact, he's now under pressure from Edward Buchanan. I'm just going to get things wrong, and that's just my destiny here. They're side by side, and it's a full clear for now. 3 wide, even. Actually, Istad's going to be inside line. He's not going to be alongside enough, though, and you very much need the inside for this sort of Malaysia-esque opening complex up ahead. Martin's still very close to Anne Medmer as these two drop off the rest of the pack. Certainly are staying pretty close together to start today's day off. Close. Being close here means could be very tight by the end. Estimated 14 laps, fairly low amount. This is usually a very common GT racing destination in Germany. They don't usually take on cars that are quite this small. Alexander Istad has a good view of the proceedings up ahead. You just about leave that first half and you can just catch the scale of the elevation change down this hill. Runs aren't quite coming as I'd expect them to, though. Saw a few drivers sort of swing out a little bit, but not get alongside in any way. Finish straight ahead, and Martin Arnoldus still not quite with the run yet. It's one of the best runs yet, and he's monster. He's up for that inside line. It's not given to him. Him Joyner sets the fastest in P3. Not sure why some of my liveries aren't showing on the UI as seen, but we can see them on the cars at the very least. Might be a difference between sim and custom stamps again. Or maybe it's just been a really bad day for the software. Sometimes it just has a bad day, and then you never know what's going to happen. Well, you know what? I'm being misled by that. We're all being a little bit thrown off the chase, so by you go. Don't really need you today. Back single file as ever. Richard Harwood here at the back. Then it's Nado Brown quite a bit further back, being challenged by Nick Sigley and Philip Sear. Christopher Cash still running. Daniel Tufts retiring almost immediately out of that race. And out of, I mean, I'm still curious about what happened on that first lap and quite what that move was for. Swinging all the way across the track is a little bit of unsettling from the rear there by Ian Joyner. Has sent Martin Arnoldus into the gravel. He cuts across the track, try and get across his nose, and he's still ahead out of that section. This is getting awfully a little bit dirty. It feels like this race. I mean, not sure what that was, but he's alongside now. Still not in with it. So why are we getting this sort of like contact? Him Joyner behind. That's a NASCAR move, the bump and run right there. Doesn't quite pay off in this instance, but I watched the Daytona 500 live. They don't bump and run at Daytona. They don't do that. That would be lethal. I know what a bump and run looks like in my life. And Anne Medmer's using this time to fly away. Hopefully looking for his sake to get a second away. Only about 10 to go around this track. And these cars flying around this sort of infield with no aero. It's tough to keep the car under you side by side. Behind, the contact has materialized again. Those two, I wondered if they were going to come together. And that's Ian Joyner sent around. Martin Arnoldus also far behind. And in fact, Philip Sear, I believe. That is Nick Sigley just went off the track as well. As repairs, it looks like a meatball flag for Sigley. I think it's been caught in something else entirely. But, I mean, this is starting to become a little bit chaotic. I want to catch that one too. This track has a lot of space and drivers are not really giving much of it up. Is Ian Joyner alongside? And he's not clear when he makes the move. What happened to Nick Sigley? I mean, he did get the meatball flag. But I'm just curious as to like exactly. Something else happened to him. I saw him go into that gravel. Didn't see him go into another car. You don't just get a meatball from the gravel. Literally just clipping the 5 car there. And I think that must have taken the wheel off the car. That's an FF1600 classic to me. But it's pretty common, I gotta say, to lose a wheel to even being clipped by anything at all. And that's got to be very unlucky. Nick just sort of ruined the day. We're losing drivers by the minute. And Medmer not fully out of the view, but with 1.4 seconds now. Going up to 1.5, it's having a very, very good run. And now this run is going to be very different for some of the others. Buchanan leads over Istad and Harwood. We approach our 6th lap today. This is really our remaining battle. 4 positions, there's going to be a whole podium on the line, and perhaps the fastest can go chase down and Medmer up ahead, although the win will be very much appreciated with a lot of competition gone now. I was going to say the championship has finally opened up quite a bit. I don't quite have the live numbers on me, but I'll tell you that it's about a 10-point gap. It's about 1 win versus second between Anne and Ian Joyner. And right now, Anne is going to claim a significant jackpot. There's about 30 points in 10th versus first. Driver swinging out wide through this sneaky little infield. Really catch when they start to enter that sort of downhill, to end their laps. And I don't know where the key overtaking zones are on this track, actually. I don't quite know where there are moves to be made. There could be a run from Istad here. Not going to stay behind for quite long enough to take it. And that inside line definitely seems very, very dominant. Harwood almost losing the field now. And Anne Medmer not really making headway. And Medmer a second and a half down the road. Not a significant enough gap to really start playing that game. Hasn't grown that much. It was 1.4. 1.5 is a small growth, but that's about 2 laps and become like a second. No, like a tenth of a second. I'm having trouble speaking today. It's a fatigue. It gets you down sometimes. Really it does. On board with Richard Harwood for a little bit. He's got the front row view to the battles up ahead. Not too much going on. In fact, Christopher Cash and Ian Joyner might be coming a little bit closer soon at one point, and I'll keep an eye on that gap for you. Harwood not really hitting those top-end speeds that are necessary right now. But not completely off this train forever. Now you've got your engine noise. They sound exactly like this in real life, by the way. Same with the MX-5. It's identical. That's my chance to rest and recover. Ian Joyner sets the fastest lap, though, from P7. He certainly is fast there, and he's not done with trying to make up a position or two. Could going fastest help him catch Philip Sear when he was a whole second faster on the last lap. So if that's the momentum we want to play, then he can possibly do it. Make up everything he can in the midst. I mean, these are some glorious camera angles, iRacing. You've really delivered your best today. They really, really have. Next week on this channel, maybe a bigger split. There were definitely more entrants. We just got a very unlucky number where it went right over the line and half the drivers got relegated to the bottom. Next week, now, cynics would tell you that there's no track, and maybe there may be no official race. That might be very true. But at the very least on this channel, I can guarantee that there will be seeing some drivers go around Knockhill. One of the 2 tracks I've been really anticipating in the back quarter of this season. Knockhill is fun. Got very similar feelings to Donington Park. It's a very similar track to Donington. So if you're a Donington fan, can't really count it out. And it will be here at the same time on this channel as ever. I had to buy that track for TCRs, and I did get an official race in those cars, so I can prove that it can happen. I'm not responsible for making sure it happens throughout the week. Cash hasn't made up real ground on Joyner in the last lap, as Cash has gone a little bit slower. Instead, this trainer free is pretty much gone as expected for now. I've not seen the battles. I've realised that like I have this season hyped up tracks that have always turned out to be like not perfectly delivering. I hyped up Charlotte because I liked it, and I like Charlotte Roval. You can't take that away from me, but that was not much of a race. I hyped up Sachsenring because I saw all that out and I thought this track is wacky and it is fun to drive and hopefully we'll see this battle evolve near the end. Now I'm hyping up not kill and that means no hill. Maybe like Beatrice's prediction will come true and actually we won't even feel official here. We better do it though. That's all I'm saying. You guys need to deliver and prove to me. I gotta say, for all of the strangeness in this year's schedule, they picked no track better for the season finale, but I'll hype that one up when we get to that road, I think. We got a few more rounds to go after this fact. Also, I hate to appeal to overheads in the chat, but this Friday at 8:30 p.m. GMT, our in-house league, Gen 4 Thunder, shows up for the first time with a clash at Atlanta. If you head to Aeon Esports.com, you can sign up to that league and be involved in that first opening race. I could not be more excited to bring it to you. The last time I'll mention that car around these places. I like it. About 5 laps to go. We're on lap 10 of an estimated 14 at this race. People are really hanging in there in line. I think they've seen what's happened with some of these overtaking attempts down the line, and there have been big mistakes. There are ways to make moves around here, and Alexander Istad has been on the rear of Edward Buchanan, just trying to find it. But not quite getting it yet. The car really washes wide around some of these turns. I mean, the draft should be paying off at one point. That perpetual green flag is scaring me just a little bit. Alexander Istad within less than a tenth for a brief moment. Doesn't quite make the run. 5 minutes to go, no matter how many laps have or have not been estimated. And further behind, it's worth catching this. Ian Joyner is on the rear now of Phillips here. Nero Brown goes a little bit sideways. I think that must have been under his own power. There's another battle raging here, and the cat chase did end up on. And if taking that much damage still gets you to a P5, Joyner will take that and run with it. Is it only going to be a mistake that sees our passing opportunity around here? Is that all we get? Well, Istad didn't really make up time last lap, and Edward has lost on Ann Medma, who might just be claiming another nice, clean, dominant victory. But Ian Joyner has aggression in the system and doesn't want to lose I rating today. That's a big, clean move to the inside with a big run. Side by side. It's not quite done yet, but this inside line could be very, very helpful for the number 2 car. I hate to call it the Wieners car in action. The 11 behind of Nado Brown still in with a shot here. That was a good exit, though. Very, very good exit from Phillips here. He's actually kept it. And that 2 on the outside, bit of a brake lock from the 9, and the 2 on the outside has just been sort of left out to dry. Almost 3 wide here, Phillips here and Nado Brown. Nado with a small advantage here. Ian just in the rear view mirrors. This might be the closer battle as we finish out this race. I think it very much could be. Ian Joyner would be, I mean, with a very brutal point system, Ian Joyner needs pretty much everything he can get after his mistakes earlier on today. Here's Ian sort of quite close to Nado. I think he'll make that move again the moment he thinks about it. And right behind, that's Christopher Cash, not down and out. If a mistake is made, Christopher's there to exploit. 4 cars together for this. Almost 3 wide. Gone very wide there for Chris Cash. The 11 and the 9 side by side. 2 can't quite slot in. Big runs down the start, finish straight now. No, he's well and truly in with it. You could fit 4 here, but I think it's going to be Joyner that's left out to dry here. No space and only a split second to send it 4. Even going wide with that mistake, Christopher Cash has cleared into the first position in this row. This is for P5. Good run up ahead. Just keeping an eye further down the field. We'll be back to them, but we haven't seen much movement over here. And Medma still actually visible, but the gap's been closed a bit, but it would need something incredible to make that up in that time now, because we're about to approach what could be our last lap. I'll let you know when it's official, but next time Medma crosses the line, it's the final lap of the race. We're going to go wide down the start-finish straights again. This is exactly what I was finally looking forward to from this track. You know, Brown's still in this, even if he's just out of view. Very good comeback. So it was almost an attempt at a dive bomb, which is how far behind he was coming, but not quite aggressive enough. We have the final lap of the race. And Medma is going to take that white flag. Meanwhile, this is where the true game is. There's 1 second between Edward and Anne, but it will take a few more laps at that pace to really make up the gap. Will Ian think about going for this on the inside? Been warded off just a little bit too early. No, the space will then open back up. He's not done. Wants to avoid another contact. He's going to make another contact. Me saying that wills it into existence. Dropping back by losing the pace. It could have been a whole lot worse. Could have been the very, very bad, no good day if that contact spun another car around, I would say. And Medma has led from the start. Is well and truly getting ready to take a spectacular win. Truly the fastest driver in this car on this track. On many tracks in this season right now. Ian Joyner's not done. Up the inside of Christopher Cash, not quite there. This is going to be a chase to the line. I wonder who's going to make their big moves. I'm just trying to catch the finish. And Medma will take the checkered flag. It will be in front of Buchanan, who did make a big gap. Istad and Harwood. The battle rages on behind. We're going 2-3 wide back. I don't think the run's been made by that final corner, but he's going to try everything here, Philip. It's not going to be enough. Lots of battles. Passing was tricky today. We'll put it like that. Passing was tricky. Here's Nick Sigley's car, followed by Martin Arnoldus. We're still on the track, a few laps down. Small field. And a race with quite a bit of promise, but getting around others has proven to be hard here. A well-earned win from Anne Medma, though. And I'll just get your quick race result up on the field. Any moment. How about now? Oh, that's slick. That was a slick transition that didn't even really pay off because it didn't even happen. So, you know, it's what it is. It's what it is. And Medma leads the field by 0.8 of a second over Edward Buchanan. Alexander Istad rounding off the podium. In front of him, Richard Harwood was in that train. Then Christopher Cash beats out Ian Joyner. An incident early in the race had Philip Sear. Brown leads over Nick Sigley with Martin Arnoldus finishing in 10th. And in the last place, Daniel Tufts retiring after damage on the first laps. The time does fly, and next week, it'll be interesting. I think there'll be a broadcast. No matter what, there'll be a broadcast. I'll make it come together. Whether or not you're a knock-hill believer in its reality, I'm sure I'll rustle up something, and we can collectively believe in a race. Until then, I've been Howie Burroughs, and